I'm a freaking magician who's holding it down as a commander in the Demon Lord's army. This dude's got mad skills and power, making him an irreplaceable member of the demon army. But here's the kicker. He's secretly a freaking human. During this intense war, the orc troops managed to bust through the castle walls, thanks to some sick explosions that Ike hooked them up with. And while all that chaos goes down, my man Ike is chilling up above, keeping an eye on things alongside the orc leader, who's stoked as hell about the success of his troops' invasion. Following Ike's advice paid off big time, and the orc leader is pumped about his troops' domination. No surprises for Ike, though. He knew victory was in the bag once he took charge of this operation. Inside the castle, it's a brutal showdown between the humans and demons. But let's be real, the demons got the upper hand with their natural strength, so the human soldiers are getting slaughtered left and right. And during this madness, the Met Captain is posted up in the castle, watching his men get wiped out one by one from the safety of a freaking window. He's probably regretting the day he signed up to be a knight. Out of nowhere, he realizes he's got company in the room. The dude turns around and sees that Ike somehow managed to sneak in. The Met Captain knows he's screwed now, so he faces Ike and demands to know who the hell he is. Ike ain't wasting any time and introduces himself as the commander of the Demon Lord's 7th Undead Brigade. He tells the Knight Commander that he's got limited options left. His soldiers are almost wiped out, and Ike straight up tells him he wants to claim this territory for himself. So, we can do this the easy way or the hard way, it's up to you. Then the Knight Captain, going out like a warrior, tells Ike that none of those options work for him and lunges forward for a desperate attack. But Ike wasn't even fazed. He saw that coming and had already prepared for the hard way. He swiftly casts a close-range spell, taking down the Knight Captain and rendering him useless. Ike has officially won this war. But just as Ike's about to celebrate, the orc walks into the room, ready to congratulate him on the victory. Now, your typical demon commander would straight up execute all the surviving members of the enemy army at this point. But Ike's got a different plan in mind. He tells the orc leader to provide first aid for the Knight Commander and any humans who surrendered. And here's the kicker, folks. While Ike's doing all this, there's a witch spying on him through her crystal ball. She's blown away that he managed to take down Castle Arsenal with just one brigade and a week of prep time. This witch is hella interested in the potential Ikes showing back at the castle. To avoid any further prying eyes, Ike throws up a barrier around himself, making sure he's not being watched. Finally, with some privacy, he reflects on how guilty he feels about causing so much harm and hurting so many people. Even though it was necessary to secure the victory, Ike will never fully get used to the bloodshed that comes with war. It's like second nature to demons, but for Ike, who's a human in disguise, it's a whole different story. His teacher, Romurg, was a sick mage, but that dude also had mad knowledge about the world and the advanced civilization that used to exist. One day, Romurg stumbled upon baby Ike and decided to take him in, just for kicks and giggles. As the years went by, Ike learned all the sick magic and knowledge Romurg had to offer. But before Romurg kicked the bucket from old age, he dropped a major bomb on Ike. Never spill the beans about the ancient civilization. It would bring straight up disaster if peeps found out. And there was one more thing. Romurg told Ike to never, ever let anyone see him without his robe and mask, because if folks discovered he was a human, the Demon Lord would show him no mercy. Since that day, Ike's never taken off his mask. Even now, he can only remove it because he's got a dope barrier protecting the room. With the barrier up, nobody can enter without his say-so, but it doesn't apply to peeps who are already inside. Ike peeps down and spots a maid hiding under the desk. She's begging for her life, swearing she won't breathe a word about his secret. But then she accidentally bonks her head on the desk and collapses. Ike checks on her, and she's still breathing. But he's thinking, why did the clumsy maid have to be the first one to find out my secret? I've kept it locked down for over 20 years. Just then, the orc leader knocks on the door, wanting to have a chat with Ike. Looks like he'll have to deal with the maid situation later. Outside, the orc leader tells Ike they successfully took over the castle. But he's tripping because Ike's letting so many humans live. Ike tells him it ain't a problem because the new Demon Lord doesn't give a damn about the kill count. As long as they get the job done, they are good. The orc gets it, but he and the crew are hoping to massacre all the humans and burn the village to the ground. Ike questions the point of that, though, because if they off everyone, who's going to be left to pay taxes? Arsum is a trading city without humans. Who's going to handle all that trade? Just then, Ike and the orc come across a couple of humans who want to talk to Ike. The orc starts barking at them for having the audacity to speak directly to the almighty Ike, but Ike's chill about it and tells the village chief to speak up. The chief's accepted that the town's now under demon army control, so he's curious about how much they got to cough up in taxes for the Demon Lord. Ike tells him they can just stick to paying the usual amount, but he makes it crystal clear that if anyone tries to resist the Demon Lord for any reason, there won't be any mercy. Right then, Ike senses something's off. Next thing he knows, he's teleported to a dark room with a massive monster creeping behind him, clearly up to no good. Ike swiftly dodges the monster's incoming attacks. And it seems like this ain't the first time this has gone down because Ike starts complaining to the witch about not summoning him out of nowhere like this. Since the monster's already up in here, Ike decides to whack it with his staff and unleash a sick spell. He takes out that golem with just one hit. The witch, who turns out to be called Saphiro, is hella impressed because she thought that golem was tough as nails. Turns out, she's a high up in the demon army and the only demon who knows Ike's a human. I guess her to please just send a messenger next time she wants to talk to him. But she finds it damn entertaining to catch him off guard with teleportation. Ike just accepts that he's got to put up with Saphiro's shenanigans. He asks if she summoned him because of the battle in Arsum. She tells him that's not why she called him here, since her familiars couldn't have told her everything she needed to know about the battle. She's cool with how Ike took over the city and spared the humans. But then Ike wonders why she bothered summoning him at all, and Saphiro drops the bomb that Demon Lord Dirk wants to see him in person. Ike straight up shook because he'd be the first brigade commander to score the honor of meeting the big boss. But he's still wondering why Dirk would want to see him. Saphiro figures it's because Ike captured Arsum in just 1 week, and she's going to take him to the Demon Lord's castle pronto. Ike wasn't expecting to bounce right away, but he put his hand on Saphiro's shoulder, and they teleport away together. Meanwhile, back at the castle, the maid finally wakes up. She gets on her feet and tries to dip, but she's stuck inside Ike's barrier. No way she's getting out of there. She looks around and sees a plate of grub with a note from Ike. He tells her to chow down and wait for his return. So the maid does exactly that, and damn, that food is so bomb that she can't help but dig in. At the same time, Ike and Saphiro arrive at the Demon Lord's castle. The gnarly miasma around the joint is messing with Ike a bit because he's a human, but he powers through and keeps strutting toward the castle. At the gate, there are guards posted up. Ike asks if they check everyone who rolls up, and Saphiro's like, yeah they do. Ike starts freaking out because his cover's going to be blown as soon as they make him ditch his mask. But Saphiro's got a plan. She busts out some magic and surrounds Ike with a wicked aura. When they reach the guards, they're all about showing respect because they know Ike Romurg's grandson. Training under a badass mage like that. No wonder Ike's got mad power. The guards let Ike and Saphiro into the castle, no questions asked. After a bit of walking, Ike asks how long it's going to take before they reach the audience room. Saphiro tells him they are almost there, but Ike's secretly wishing he could fly like Saphiro in a situation like this. He's always been jelly of her fly-ass flight magic, like he can pull off the spell, but he ain't got the same control as she does. So all he can do is jump mad high with it. Finally, they make it to the audience room, and Saphiro tells Ike to chill outside while she chats it up with the Demon Lord first. Once she steps inside, Ike starts thinking about how the current Demon Lord, Dirk Cutting, turned the whole damn war around with just one battle. This dude's the strongest demon out there, and folks say he's cold-hearted and ruthless, like he'd straight up kill anyone he ain't feeling. But on the flip side, he's also known for recognizing talent, no matter what flaws you have. His new approach to running things changed up the demon army because demons are born to fight each other over any little thing. Dirk Cutting achieved all that while he was the Demon Lord. And now Saphiro calls for Ike to come in, so he struts into the throne room. The Demon Lord is a chick. Dirk Sen gives props to Ike for snatching up Arsum in just 1 week, and he thanks her for the kind words, but he doesn't think he deserves that much credit. The Demon Lord finds it weird how humble Ike is, like he's acting all human-like. Ike regrets speaking up now because he almost let something slip. Good thing Saphiro jumps in and explains that Ike was raised by the legendary magician Romurg, and Romurg was all about humility, so Ike learned it from him. She also thinks Ike might be smarter than she thought because he spared the humans even after conquering Arsum. But now, Ike's kind of kicking himself for not killing those humans like a regular demon would. It's bringing all this unwanted attention his way. So he asks for permission to speak and tells Dirk that he spared the humans because fear only lasts so long. He figured it'd be better not to off them so they can keep on living their normal lives and stay productive. Dirk asks if Romurg has the same opinion, and Ike says yes. He's only been chatting with her for a hot minute, but he can tell Dirk knows about them ancient civilizations Romurg told him about. She used that knowledge to shape the demon army into what it is today. Dirk teleports from her throne and lands right in front of Ike, saying he's different from most demons, but the next time they meet, she wants to see what's under that mask of his. Then she teleports behind him and straight up tells him she expects him to keep killing it in the future. And as soon as she's out of the room, I straight up collapse because I'm so damn nervous. Saphiro starts clowning on me for being all shaky in front of Dirk, but hey, even though I'm a badass magician, I'm still a punk. What had me so shaken was the fact that Dirk could see through my mask and tell it wasn't my real face. But hey, at least she doesn't know I'm a human yet. Saphiro also mentions that I'm getting some kind of reward from Dirk for my achievements, although she wouldn't call it a reward. A while later, I teleport back to Arsum to check on the maid, and damn, she scarfed down all the food I left for her. So I look around and find her knocked out behind the desk. I wake her up, and as soon as she sees it's me, she starts begging for her life and pleading with me not to hurt her. I tell her to chill because I ain't planning on killing her, but first, I want to know her name. She tells me they call her 13 because slaves here only get called by their numbers. but her mom used to call her Sati. I tell Sati that I can't just let her walk now that she knows I'm human. But she swears she won't tell anybody about my true identity. I believe her, but just to make sure she keeps her trap shut, I tell her she has to be my maid from now on. Sati's more than happy to be my maid if it means she gets to stay alive, so it's a done deal. The next day, I officially became the ruler of this place called Evalia's. Saphiro told me that was the reward Darrow had in store for me. It's a town right on the front lines, and my job is to rebuild it and double its tax revenue. I ain't too thrilled about it, especially because Saphiro was the one who took over the town and wrecked all the walls, leaving it defenseless. We are on the front line, man. We need the walls rebuilt in case the human army comes at us. But when I asked Piggy how long it's going to take, he told me it's going to be at least 6 months. Man, 6 months is way too damn long for a city to have no walls. But with just human labor, there's no way we're going to finish any faster. However, I have a plan to get it done in just 1 month. And that's by getting demons and humans to work together. Piggy has never seen humans and demons team up like this. I even came up with the idea of having 8-hour shifts so we could work on the walls 24/7. And I'm paying the workers a decent wage to keep them motivated. So Piggy's convinced I'm the demon army's best damn asset, and I'm destined to be the next demon lord, no doubt. Time flies when one day Ike gets the news that the Demon King chose him to gather info about a possible alliance the human kingdoms are cooking up. See, in the last battle, the demons faced a massive human army, and it ain't just from one kingdom. Sati's gotten cozy with Ike, so he decides to bring her along to a nearby kingdom for some recon. While they're there, Sati gets sidetracked by some con artist. But Ike peeps that the dude's running a scam and snatches Sati away. As they stroll, they chow down on some fruit, and Ike tells Sati he's pretty damn sure the humans are teaming up against the demons. Sati's all confused, so Ike breaks it down for her. Whenever there's a big bad like the Demon King, the humans drop their beef and join forces from all the kingdoms to take down their common enemy. Ike says this alliance has happened 3 times in history, and every single time, they whooped the Demon King's army and sent them packing back to their castle. She asks if the humans will win this time too, which throws Ike off because she should be rooting for the humans. But she says the humans ain't never been kind to her and made her a slave. If the demon army never rolled in, she'd be stuck like the other slave kids forever. Ike realizes how messed up society is, and assures Sati that the current Demon King is the wisest and strongest dude in centuries. Before they can keep chatting, though a voice interrupts them, Ike turns around and sees the con artist and his hefty sidekick yelling at him for exposing their tricks. Ike tells them it was a scam, not a trick, but the con artist loses it and threatens to make him pay. That ticks Ike off, so he looks around to make sure no one's watching, then whips out his magic wand and freezes the big guy's legs in place with ice magic. They are shocked to see Ike's a magician, but before he can react, Ike conjures a bunch of icy spheres and aims them at the con artist, demanding an apology. This man thinks Ike's bluffing and starts cussing him out, but Ike jabs him with one of the spears in his arm, showing he means business. After that, he asks him if he knows anything about what's going down in this kingdom. Scared for his life, he spills the beans that the alliance is going down. But the kingdom of Rosaria is planning a surprise attack on the demons to gain an advantage and some glory. Ike thinks it all adds up and asks the con artist where they're planning to strike. For some reason, this sleazy con artist knows all the deets about the war plans and spills that the city of Arsum is their target because its defenses are weak as hell right now. Ike hears all he needs to know and bounces back to their city with Sati to plan their defense. That night, Rosaria's army sends a battalion to invade Arsum. But before they can even set up their siege weapons, freaking skeletons start popping out of the ground. Their leader Alistair tells them to hold formation because skeletons are weak, but little do they know, they're walking right into an ambush. Arrows rain down on them like hellfire, while a bunch of orcs bust out of the jungle and start crushing their army. So, Alistair realizes they walked right into a freaking trap in Arsum. She calls her soldiers to retreat and make sure nobody gets left behind. Meanwhile, Ike and Piggy are watching from the walls, and Piggy's giving props to Ike for saving him from the surprise attack. Before Ike can even respond, though, someone shoots an arrow from behind, hitting him and knocking him out cold. When he wakes up, he's in bed with Saphiro. She says Piggy called her after Ike got hit, and she healed him just in time to save his life. She gives him props for crushing the surprise attack, but tells him there were still some human casualties. She warns him that the Demon Lord might start getting suspicious if this keeps happening. But Ike replies that no matter what, his primary goal is to make this world livable for both humans and demons. She tells him to take care and disappears, while he calls in Piggy and tells him to find out what happened to the human commander. Piggy says the commander got imprisoned by her senior officer, who called her a disgrace for retreating from the battlefield. The next morning, Ike decides to head to the prison to meet the commander, but that annoying Lily follows him around, and he tells her to shut up or scram, but she sticks around like a damn leech as they spy on the guards outside the prison. She asks if she should take out the guards, but Ike responds that he doesn't want to create a scene right now, but before he can stop her, That idiot Lily goes ahead and beats the guards, claiming she didn't kill them like he wanted. They go inside the prison, which turns out to be bigger than he thought. It's gonna take more time to find the commander. Lily beats the crap out of one of the guards for info, and he spills that the commander's on the top floor and hands them the keys. As they head to the stairs, more guards show up and attack. Lily hands the keys to Ike and tells him to keep moving while she handles them. Ike watches as Lily kicks ass and keeps moving forward. Finally, he reaches the top floor, opens the cell, and finds it empty. But then, out of nowhere, the commander attacks him from behind. He barely dodges, and she pulls out a knife, going at him again. Somehow, he manages to dodge her and grabs his staff, knocking her down. He lets her get up, and she asks if he came to laugh at her or kill her. Ike's like, "No, I just came to find out if you sent an assassin to kill me and Aaron." The commander looks surprised and asks if he's a human, catching Ike off guard before he can process that. They hear guards rushing in, and Alistair puts a knife to his throat, demanding to know if he's a demon or a human. Ike ain't got a clue what to do as he's thinking about whether he should spill his true self or not. She's holding the knife to his neck, demanding again to know if he's a human or a demon, while the guards are scattering around the prison, looking for Ike to put an end to him. Ike realizes he got to act fast before he gets in deep trouble, so he pulls off some fancy magic that slows down time around him. This freaks out Alistair, who quickly realizes something's off, but he reassures her it'll wear off soon enough. He strolls right past her casually, heading towards the guards moving in slow motion, who don't seem to be budging. So he uses his dark wind magic to blow them away in a split second before they can react. But then he gets blindsided by a big old knight wielding a morning star, swinging it at him. Luckily, Ike dodges the swing with finesse, sidestepping the knight like a pro. Before the knight can regain his balance, Ike whips out a gravity spell from his arsenal, sending the knight crashing down to the ground, breaking the ramp beneath him. Alistair's all confused, wondering why this guy ain't killing the guards when he clearly can. Out of nowhere, the ground beneath her feet collapses too, and she ends up taking a tumble. Lucky for her, Ike swoops in and catches her in midair, setting her down safely on the floor. He apologizes for the chaos and introduces himself as Ike, the badass commander of the Immortal Brigade. He answers her earlier question by stating the obvious: he's a demon because humans ain't allowed in the demon army. Alistair still ain't convinced, but Ike moves on and asks her again if she sent an assassin to off him during their last battle. She keeps her mouth shut, claiming she's a knight of the kingdom and won't spill anything to a demon like him, even if it means she dies. Ike decides to take matters into his own hands and pulls off a move he picked up from watching Korean dramas. Instead of breathing on her face, he simply taps into his mind-reading powers to extract all the info he needs. Then he tells Alistair their job here is done and gets ready to split. Alistair calls him out, asking if he just came here to mess with her, but he tells her all he wanted to know was whether she sent an assassin, and now he knows she had nothing to do with it. He tells Alistair they're leaving, while she protests because she wanted some alone time with him, but he's done dealing with those thoughts bothering him. So he opens up a portal and steps through, leaving Alistair puzzled about what the heck just went down. When he gets back to his mansion, Sati's already there to greet him. He takes off his mask and hands her a little bag filled with rice grains. She looks confused because she's never seen this stuff before. Ike explains that it's called rice and it's way easier to grow than wheat. She's still puzzled, so he goes on to explain that everyone in Arsum is stuck being wheat farmers, which is a real pain in the butt and requires a bunch of folks doing hard labor just to sell it. Compared to that, rice is way easier to grow, which means they'll need fewer farmers. The remaining dudes can do other important stuff like being masons, chefs, smiths, and all that jazz. It'll boost the city's productivity and help even the poorest peeps become middle class. But Sati, bless her heart, still ain't getting it. So Ike breaks it down for her and says they'll have more food to sell for more money. Finally, the light bulb switches on in her head, and she asks if he knows how to cook it. Ike gives her a look and admits he ain't got a clue. That's why he hands her the responsibility to experiment with cooking rice in different ways so they can replace wheat with it as their main grub. Once that's sorted, he tells Piggy to gather the troops because they're gonna have a meetup in the evening. Piggy's clueless about why Ike wants the whole army there. Turns out, the arrow that hit Ike belonged to their enemies, but he knows Alistair, the enemy commander, ain't behind it. It can only mean one thing: there's a snitch in their ranks. He decides to use his mind-reading mojo to snoop on what each soldier is thinking. Meanwhile, Piggy keeps chanting praises about Ike like a broken record. Finally, he spots a demon dude sweating bullets, worried his cover's blown. So Ike teleports right in front of him and straight up asks if he's the spy. He gets the info he needs and heads off to meet Saphiro at night. He spills the beans about the traitor in their army, and she's chill, asking casually who it is while taking a bath. He tells her it's Jace, the one-eyed goblin vet, second in command of the 7th Battalion. Dude's a seasoned commander with smarts. Saphiro casually strolls out and says they got to make him pay for his treason. Next morning, Ike heads over to Jace's turf for a chat, scaring the crap out of the goblin when he realizes he's been caught. Ike asks for a one-on-one meeting, but Jace brings a whole army of goblins with him. Ike lets Jace know he's aware of his treason and is here to serve up some justice. But Jace just laughs and mocks him for being dumb enough to come alone after finding out. He boasts about his army being twice the size of Ike's crew and threatens to unleash them all. Ike chuckles and asks if he was expecting something like that, leaving the goblin commander confused. They hear an explosion. Jace turns around to see fireballs raining down from the sky, causing panic as the goblins scatter in all directions. Turns out, it's Sephiroth's doing. She's got enough magical power to turn a whole city to ashes, throwing down hellfire on them goblins. Ike takes cover behind a building, thinking she should go easy on the buildings because they gotta rebuild them anyway. But Sephiroth don't give a damn and keeps blowing them up. She even sends her own skeleton army to clean up and finish off any traitorous scum left. Meanwhile, Ike sneaks up on Jace and gives him two choices: die as a traitor or surrender like a traitor. Jace ain't feeling any of those options, so he orders his troops to attack Ike, but they don't stand a chance against him. He's whooping them left and right without breaking a sweat. Jace sees he's in deep shit, so he starts parkouring on the rooftops. But then, the demon blocks his path and throws a punch. But Jace dodges that shit like a boss. Then he pops a smoke grenade and vanishes, using a portal to escape into the forest. He looks back at the wreckage and swears to take down Sephiroth. But before he can even think about leaving, a fireball smacks his ass down. He turns around and sees Ike, who's been tailing him all the way. Ike tells Jace to just surrender. But Jace, all pissed off that a brigade commander's giving him orders, goes for a punch. Well, Ike blocks it like it's nothing and tells him resistance is futile. Then he uses his wind magic to blast Jace into a tree and binds him up real good. Jace finally realizes he ain't got a chance against this dude, so he switches it up and admits that Ike's got the upper hand. He proposes they team up and overthrow the Demon Queen together, taking control of all their forces. This creepy orc is living in the past, thinking it's still 2024. He says the queen's all emotional and holds them back from killing humans like they wanna, so he wants Ike to join forces and wipe out the humans once and for all. But Ike ain't having none of that and shuts him down. Jace tries one last desperate move, throwing a knife at him, but Ike just dodges it with ease. He asks Jace who else is involved in this treason, but the dude keeps his trap shut. Out of nowhere, Sephiroth shows up and starts tearing Jace apart while interrogating him. Ike tries to heal him, but Sephiroth says the poison's too strong. She wants Jace to spill the name and promises to avenge his death. But before he can say shit, he croaks. Ike feels a bit sorry for the traitor, but Sephiroth tells him to man up and grow a pair as she walks away from the corpse. Later that night, Ike and Sephiroth head to the Demon King's castle to meet Dyrek, who asks what the heck is happening. Sephiroth figured out the traitor's name and tells Dyrek it's Base, the commander of the 2nd Battalion. Dyrek wants some proof, and Sephiroth explains that her vice commander defected and tried to off Ike, planning to take control of the 7th Battalion and overthrow the Demon Queen. Dyrek raises an eyebrow and looks behind them, asking what Base has to say for himself. Suddenly, Ike turns around and realizes the headless giant knight standing there is none other than Bastio, the 2nd Battalion commander. Bastio's claiming that they're plotting against him and that they killed Jace to frame him because they want his spot. Sephiroth's annoyed by his accusation, but the Demon Lord tells her to chill. She knows that the stronger a demon gets, the more power they crave, so it's natural for them to want more. She tells Bastio she knows what he's been up to, but also tells Sephiroth she messed up by not keeping Jace loyal, so they both deserve punishment. But she doesn't want to lose two commanders while they're at war with the humans, so she tells them they'll have a duel, and she'll back the winner. Sephiroth gets ready, and we find out the duel will be with puppets. Each commander will control 50, and the one who loses all their puppets first gets killed. Ike wonders why they don't just fight directly, and Sephiroth explains the Demon Lord is testing their skills as commanders. She also mentions they can appoint a stand-in, so she decides to send Ike in her place. He can't believe she'd send him since her life's on the line, but she says it's the best shot at winning, telling him his talent as a commander already surpasses hers, so she trusts him with her life. We see Ike at the arena with Piggy, checking out the puppets. They're all equal in strength, meant to test command skills, and they can use any weapons. Ike heads back to his room, thinking about his strategy. He asks Sati what she thinks is the best way to win a battle, but she has no clue, so he asks what she'd do in a fight. She says she'd rather settle things over a cup of tea. If she had to fight, she'd use a broom, and Ike figures using a longer weapon like a spear or even bow to attack from a distance is smart. The best way to win is to strike from afar, but he knows that's too obvious. Sati remembers hearing about the crossbows of Arsum, and Ike thinks they're a good idea because they're easier to use than bows and can pierce metal. But he still feels it's not enough. Suddenly, he gets an idea: make guns. Sati wonders how strong they are. He mentions they're stronger and can shoot further than a crossbow, so Sati asks how he can make a gun. He notes that Sephiroth is a powerful alchemist, so he's sure she can help him. But when he asks her, she says she has limits because she can't make something she's never seen. Ike tries to describe it, but she just splashes him with water, telling him to join her. Meanwhile, Bastio is prepping as a soldier report that Ike will be participating in the duel. Bastio's checking out a sword, and we find out it's made from black dragon fangs, so it can slice through anything. He's convinced he's gonna win. Ike's just finished a bath, still stressing about the duel. His shirt flies over to him, and he thanks Saphiro, but surprise, it's the Demon Lord. He starts freaking out because he's not wearing his mask and hopes she doesn't recognize him without it. She hands him a gift, and it's the guns he's been looking for. He tries to play it cool, pretending he's not Ike. But she knows the truth because his master Romberg already told her everything. He wonders why she kept him around knowing he's human. But she says it's to make her wish come true. She wants to build her world. But no matter how strong she is, she needs people to serve and fight for her. She knows he'll be useful, so she asks for his answer, and he agrees to keep serving her. Ike shows the guns to Saphiro, asking her to make bullets, but she makes them way too big. He tells her they need to fit in the gun, so she makes them smaller. Suddenly, there's an explosion and a demon named Fiorentina shows up, saying they successfully made the gunpowder Ike asked for. The day of the duel arrives, and everyone's hyped. We see Ike with his puppets, and Bastio laughing at him because they only have shields. Ike notices Bastio's puppets are fully geared with Damascus steel. Bastio brags it's the strongest metal, so no spear or arrow will harm his puppets. He says it's a gift from the Demon Lord, so he thinks she wants him to win. Ike's wondering if she's just evening the fight or testing him. The duel starts, and Bastio orders his puppets to fire their arrows. Ike tells his puppets to block, but they start getting taken out. Bastio thinks Ike can't do anything but defend and finds it boring. But suddenly, a shot takes out one of Bastio's puppets. They keep firing, taking turns reloading, and wiping out Bastio's puppets. He can't believe it, and the Demon Lord says it's over. She gives Bastio the choice to take his own life honorably or die by her hand. He chooses a third option, and his assassin shoots an arrow at her. She catches it, but there's a bomb attached, and it explodes. Bastio's skeletons rush out, and he declares himself the new Demon Lord. Bastio's crew of skeletons straight up started throwing down on all the ogres in the stadium. The ogres must have forgotten how to brawl because they're just scattering around getting wrecked one by one. Bastio's cracking up and tells his squad to take out anyone who tries to step up because he's claiming the throne in this joint. In the middle of his rant, Bastio flips to Ike and lays it down that sooner or later, the demon army's gonna bow down and show respect because he's the new Demon Lord in town. So he slides Ike an offer to join up without throwing hands because he sees Ike's skills. He even throws in the 7th Corps under Ike's command as a sweet deal. Ike tells Bastio your offer is tempting, but you ain't in a spot to promise me Jack because you ain't ever gonna be the Demon Lord. Bastio just laughs in Ike's face for passing on the offer with a whole army ready to throw down at any second. Even with Bastio's crew surrounding him and a pair of skeletons on his tail, Ike stays cool and drops a massive wind spell to take out the skeletons up front. Bastio tells his crew to take out Ike, but as they rush him, Ike busts out a set of dark spears and skewers them all as they come at him, since they can't get close. One skeleton goes all in and lights up its noggin to use as a weapon, but after all that trouble of sacrificing its dome, it totally whiffs the shot. Seconds later, Ike blasts it to oblivion with his magic. Even though Ike's firepower is keeping the army in check, he ain't looking to get boxed in, so he magics up and jets into the sky, while a barrage of arrows rain down on him. Once he's in a good spot, he unleashes a massive attack spell that wipes out a chunk of Bastio's crew instantly. After that, Ike straight up flies at Bastio, gets up close, grabs his mug, and sets off a point-blank blast to try and finish him off for good. When the dust clears, Ike's the last one standing, thinking he took the win, even though Bastio smoked a lot of demons. But it ain't over because Ike peeps Bastio's head rolling in front and his body creeping up from behind for a sneak attack. Explosions rock the stadium, but Ike dodges by leaping back to create some space. Even with all that sweat, Bastio tells him it's all futile because there's no way he can come out on top. As the head of the Undying Brigade, Ike knows these troops are pretty much unkillable, so all the soldiers he took out before are gonna bounce back and keep throwing hands. Bastio and his crew are all zombies, meaning no matter what Ike does, they just keep coming back. The undead soldiers start attacking Ike again with their exploding skull move, but their aim is straight garbage. Even if they can't hit him, it still grabs Ike's attention. While he's distracted, a soldier tries to sneak up on him, but Ike sees it coming and freezes the soldier's arms before smashing them into pieces. Then Ike uses time magic to slow down the rest of the soldiers. With them stuck in place, he takes them out one by one with his staff, but Bastio's army keeps getting back up. His army is basically endless with their constant regeneration, and no matter how much power Ike has, he only has so much magic. Eventually, he'll run out of juice and get taken down by the relentless attacks of the undead army. Bastio says it's a shame Ike has to die like this since he could have put Ike's talents to good use if he'd joined him. Just then, an archer who's been posted up the whole time takes aim and shoots an explosive arrow at Ike's back, but Ike is more alert after the last hit he took. So even as the arrow hits and explodes, he blocks it with a magic shield. Though the shield's cracked and Ike is exhausted, Bastio is surprised Ike's still standing after that hit, but it makes sense since he's skilled enough to be the commander of the 7th Brigade. Regardless, no matter how much Ike struggles, it won't save him. He'll eventually get taken out by Bastio. Ike realizes Bastio is right, and all the spells he's cast have drained a lot of his magic. He needs a new plan, or he doesn't stand a chance. He knows darkness magic won't work on the undead, but then he comes up with a plan guaranteed to work against corpses. As the undead soldiers run in to continue their attack, Ike casts holy magic and exorcises them all. Bastio is shocked Ike was able to destroy his soldiers, but he has another way to attack. He signals the sniper to take another shot. But before the sniper can fire, his arm gets chopped off by Saphiro. She apologizes for keeping Ike waiting so long, but says she's finally here and brought back up. On the ground, the rest of the 7th Corps are fighting the undead army, making quick work of them. Meanwhile, inside, Saphiro flies down to Ike and tells him the others are handling the undead soldiers outside. As soon as Bastio sees Saphiro, he starts getting ready to attack her. But before he does, he hears a voice from behind him saying, "Ike's your opponent, so back off from Saphiro." Bastio turns around, and to his horror, he sees Lord Dyrk looking down at him. She could obliterate him right there, and she probably should, but she tells Bastio she'll give him one last shot to survive if he can win a duel to the death with Ike. Keep in mind, this is the second chance she's given Bastio, despite knowing he was a traitor from the start. Since she's the boss, Ike has no choice but to step up and fight Bastio one-on-one. The two charge at each other, and Bastio swings his sword while Ike blocks it with his shield magic. Bastio feels disrespected that Ike thinks he can win, so he goes all out with his sword, striking Ike's shield again and causing a crack to form. Bastio laughs and tells Ike he's weak compared to him, saying there's no doubt Ike will lose this duel. He keeps attacking, telling Ike his time is up. Even when Ike tries to jump back for some space, Bastio doesn't give him any breathing room and fires a dark laser at Ike. Ike sees this and fires back with a white magic spell. The white magic hits Bastio hard, and when it makes contact, it causes his arm to decay. Saphiro is shocked. She had no idea Ike could use white magic and wonders where and when he learned it. But when she looks at Dyrk's calm face, it's clear Dyrk already knew Ike had this magic in him. Bastio refuses to give up and charges at Ike again. But the whole time, Ike is having a flashback to his youth, when he was still studying magic under Romberg. He remembers being oddly interested in a wilted flower, but since it was time for his daily magic lessons, he left it alone and went with Romberg to study. Ike learned a lot of fascinating spells, but by the time they were done, he was still curious if there was magic that could bring a wilted flower back to life. Romberg immediately answered that white magic could do it, so Ike asked to learn that next. However, Romberg reminded Ike that he was supposed to be pretending to be a demon, and white magic is almost impossible for demons to learn. Romberg explained that white magic draws power from a compassionate heart, and demons are naturally born to hate, so they lack the affinity for it. But since Ike is human, he should be able to learn it. Romberg made it clear that white magic is the most terrifying weapon against a demon, so if Ike wants to learn it, he has to be very careful about how he uses it. Ike agreed to be careful, so Romberg schooled him on the down low. Jump to now, Ike tells Bastio that aiming to be Demon Lord is way out of his league. The dude's got no problem sacrificing his crew, and he's ready to stab his master in the back just to grab power. That might be how a demon rolls, but Ike ain't about to let that fly. Demon or not, a ruler who's oppressing their people is straight up wrong. Bastio tells Ike to shut his mouth, saying he doesn't know shit. But Ike fires back, telling him to zip it since these are his final moments. Bastio tries to come at him again, so Ike powers up his white magic, and with one slick move, slashes Bastio's stomach, finishing him off for good. With Bastio finally out of the picture, Saphiro walks up to Ike, looking relieved that everything worked out. Ike realizes Saphiro must have known Bastio was scheming, which is why she had Ike handle the duel while she set up back up for the inevitable coup attempt. Saphiro isn't sweating it since most folks made it through, minus a few hundred civilian demons, but to her, they weren't all that important anyway. Then, Dyrk rolls up and says there's still a major issue left to handle. With Bastio dead, the 3rd Corps is leaderless, so she's giving Ike the job. Before he can even get a word in, she teleports away. Ike's team rolls up to congratulate him on the big win, but Saphiro's got something bugging her. A bit later, Saphiro storms over to Dyrk's castle, fuming that Ike is her guy, so she should decide where he goes. Dyrk surprised Saphiro's so ticked off since she figured she'd be stoked about Ike getting a promotion. But since Saphiro works under Dyrk, she has the authority to assign Ike however she wants. Still, she wants to hear Ike's side since he's right there. Saphiro spots Ike coming up, assuming he's made his decision about the promotion. Ike kicks off by saying his people are finally settling into their new lives. At first, his crew wasn't digging the idea of living with humans, but they've adapted, and the humans have too. They're living in peace, helping each other out, which is a big step toward Ike's ultimate goal. He explains that when he signed up for the demon army, His dream was to create a world where demons and humans could coexist peacefully, and that vision hasn't changed. He takes off his mask to show he's being real and apologizes to Dirk, saying he has to turn down the promotion. He still has a lot he wants to learn from Sephiroth, but he promises that he will make Alas the first city where humans and demons live together in harmony. The scene jumps to Ike scoping out Evalia from a high spot. Sati rolls up and asks what he's doing there. Ike says he's been doing some digging and found out they can work the Norfolk system with the soil and weather here just as it is. Sati, who's not the sharpest tool in the shed, doesn't get it, so Ike breaks it down. It's a way to keep growing crops without letting the fields take a break. She's still lost, so Ike simplifies it basically. She can eat all the turnips she wants. Sati's down with that, and Ike adds that soon they'll be busy building a town where humans and demons can chill together. Then, we see the human army wrecking the demons trying to jack another town, with the humans winning big time. Next, we cut to Ike using his magic to make it rain on the fields. He explains that right now, they grow wheat and then let the fields rest, or grow grass for the livestock, which takes up a lot of time. Instead of doing that, they'll start rotating between barley, clover, wheat, and turnips, letting them keep growing crops without giving the fields a break. Sati, still not getting it, asks if they can eat clovers too. Ike tells her the clovers are for the animals. He then drops the bomb that if this works, neither demons nor humans will ever go hungry, and everyone's stoked. The scene then cuts to Ike chilling in his study, with Sati bringing him some tea. She congratulates him on his promotion to vice commander, but Ike brushes it off, saying it's no biggie, there was just an open spot, so he took it. Then Piggy bursts into the room, and Ike asks why he's in such a rush. Piggy says there's some serious trouble, and Sati reminds him to call Ike Vice Commander. Piggy suddenly remembers Ike's new title and apologizes for the slip-up. Piggy begs Ike to punish him however he sees fit, but Ike tells him to just spit out the news. Piggy, all frazzled, forgets why he's there, so Ike hints, asking if it's about the Alliance of the Kings. That jogs Piggy's memory, and he spills that the Alliance's army started moving last night, and the Second Corps trying to take over Alesta got wiped out. He breaks it down, saying the Second Corps is full of ruthless fighters, all top-notch, so he never thought they'd get wrecked this bad. Ike figures this is what happens when you mess with the Alliance of Kings, but the clueless maid has no idea what that even is. Ike tells her it's one of humanity's oldest pacts. Basically, when the Demon Lord's army gets too strong for any one nation to handle, all the countries on the continent link up to take them down together. Piggy wonders if there's ever been an Alliance army before, and Ike says yeah, it's happened 3 times, and every time, the demon army got whooped. Piggy starts stressing about their safety, and Ike tells him that Evalia's is probably next on the Alliance's hit list. He explains that they took over Arsum, which is a key base, and if the humans want it back, they'll have to hit the front lines in Evalia's. Ike thinks demons are stronger than humans in a one-on-one fight, but they'll struggle against the humans' numbers and teamwork. If the humans take Evalia's, their army will head straight to Arsum, and with their bigger numbers, they'll drop a concentrated attack and snatch Arsum back. Ike says if that happens, their army will have to retreat to Doberberg, and Piggy knows that's bad news. Ike agrees and realizes that his dream of building a town where humans and demons can live together will be toast if things go down like that. He tells them there's only one way to beat the humans' numbers, and that's with guns. The scene then cuts to Fiorentina telling Ike and Sephiroth that they can't mass-produce guns with alchemy, and Sephiroth asks why. Fiorentina shows them a demo of an alchemy-made gun, and they see that these guns don't pack enough punch and break after one shot. Sephiroth asks if they even need guns, saying they could just flatten the humans with magic, but Ike warns her that would cause mass destruction, making it hard to rebuild afterward. He explains they need weapons anyone can use if they're gonna take on the Alliance, and Fiorentina says it's gonna be tough to mass produce them, but they might be able to pull it off if they make the parts separately and then put them together. Sephiroth's wondering how they're supposed to make these tiny parts, and Fiorentina says maybe the dwarves can help. Sephiroth's fine with that, but she mentions that the dwarves lost to the humans and are just wandering around now. They'll need a lot of dwarves to produce the weapons they need. So she asks how they're going to get them all together. Fiorentina doesn't know, and Ike suggests they free the Dwarf King who's locked up in the Ismuth Kingdom. We then see the Dwarf King stuck in a cell in Ismuth, thinking back to when the humans beat them. After they lost, the humans said it wouldn't have happened if the dwarves had listened, but the king refused to give them their technology for war. The humans reminded him of the trouble they were in and threatened to take his son if he didn't cooperate. They told the dwarves to use their powers for the good of Ismuth Kingdom if they wanted to survive. So the dwarves had no choice but to follow orders. They ended up working for the kingdom and then scattered across the land. The king hopes his people are okay wherever they are, and he notices the guards outside are sleeping. Lily shows up and unlocks his cell. The Dwarf King is surprised to see a demon and wonders what she wants from him. She tells him to just come with her, but he keeps asking questions, which annoys Lily. She puts him to sleep like the soldiers, and the piggy shows up. He asks what she did to the king, and she says she just got fed up with all his questions. She says they should get him out of there, and the piggy carries him. As they head out, the piggy's glad they haven't run into any guards, but Lily finds it boring. The piggy reminds her they were told not to let anyone see them taking the king, and tells her to be quiet and keep moving. Lily doesn't like his attitude and says he smells bad today. This annoys the piggy, and because of the noise they're making, the guards find them. Being a succubus, Lily drains their energy to knock them out, and the piggy reminds her that Ike wanted them to avoid fights as much as possible. Lily ain't paying him no mind, and he warns her that he'll snitch to Ike. Another guard steps up to go after the piggy, but the piggy flips the script and takes him down. That's when the piggy realizes he just went against Ike's orders, and Lily tells him she's gonna spill the beans to Ike, but he begs her not to. They manage to escape the dungeon, but they soon spot a bunch of soldiers closing in. The soldiers get ready for a showdown when they see the demons, and the piggy tells Lily to do something. She starts sucking up their energy, but she doesn't take him out. Meanwhile, Ike spots the chaos from a distance and thinks to himself that he told them not to cause a scene. Lily and the piggy are on the run, with Lily already full from all the energy she absorbed. The piggy's puzzled, wondering why there are so many soldiers here when the Alliance was supposed to have taken care of most of them. Then, Ike uses his magic to block the soldiers from chasing them and checks with his crew if there are any issues. The piggy tells him everything's cool and mentions they got the king too. Ike's taken aback by how rough they're handling the king, and the piggy tries to wake him up by spinning him around. But Ike reminds him to be gentle with the guy. The scene shifts to Gunther, the dwarf king, waking up in a house in Avelius with Ike by his side. Gunther asks why he's out of his cell, and Ike shows him a gun, asking if he can make more of them. Gunther sees that it's a complicated piece of work, but says he can make more, though he's not down to work for the demons. He thinks Ike's just trying to use him like the humans did, and he swears he ain't ever gonna be anyone's slave. Ike tells him it's natural to feel that way, but this is all about keeping peace between humans and demons. Gunther's confused, so Ike takes him outside to show humans and demons living together in his city. Ike explains that he wants peace between the two, and that's why he needs Gunther's help. Gunther thinks it's an interesting idea, but says he can't back it. Not after what the humans did to the dwarves, destroying their country. He's not down to help Ike if it means helping the humans, but Ike wonders if Gunther would reconsider if he could bring back the peace they once had. He breaks it down, saying if Gunther cranks out those firearms in bulk, he'll get the demon lord to rebuild the dwarf kingdom. Gunther thinks he's joking and snaps back, telling him not to play him like that. He says rebuilding a nation is pointless without its people, but Ike tells him he's dead serious and he'll prove it. Ike takes Gunther to a workshop where a bunch of dwarves are busy making guns, and Gunther's shocked to see them. The dwarves are hyped to see their king again, and Gunther even reunites with his son. He's puzzled about how this all came together, and his son explains that the demons brought them here, gave them a place to stay, and got everyone back together. The dwarves are glad Ike kept his word and say they'll show him what they're capable of in return. Ike then asks Gunther again if he's down to help him with his plans, and Gunther agrees. They shake on it, and Gunther thinks Ike's hands are pretty warm for a demon. Afterward, Ike heads back to his study, and Sati tries to make him some tea, but Ike tells her to take a break. Sati refuses and says it's easier for her to keep busy. Ike suggests she read some books, but Sati admits she can't read. Ike thinks it's an essential skill and says he'll teach her when he has some time. Just as they're sharing a moment, the succubus bursts in, sees how close they are, and asks the maid if she's trying to seduce Ike again. The maid coolly says she's just helping her master, and the two start butting heads, literally. Ike steps in, trying to calm them down, when the piggy rushes in, all frantic. He says they've got trouble, and we see the allied nation's army gathered outside of Avelius. One of the soldiers reports to the general that the dwarf king was freed by the humans, but the general brushes it off, saying that old man isn't going to be any use to the demons. Another soldier shows up, and the general asks how many troops are in Avelius. The soldier tells him there are 500 right now, but all the brigade commanders are on their way to back them up, so the numbers will grow. The general then asks how many soldiers they've got in total, and when he hears they've got 12,000 men, he's confident there's no way they're losing this fight. The scene cuts to the piggy struggling to climb a cliff, barely making it to the top. Ike gives him props for putting in the work, and the piggy thinks Ike's got it easy since he can just float up there with his levitation magic. Ike figures the piggy must have dropped a few pounds after all that, and the piggy wonders if they've finally made it to their spot. The miner with them pipes up, saying they're already here, they've arrived at a cave. They head inside, and sure enough, they find the ore they've been searching for. After that, the dwarves get busy crafting guns, cranking out a bunch of them. The piggy runs the crew through how to fire the guns, and even he's blown away by how powerful they are. He's hyped, thinking this is gonna be a game changer. And while they're doing all that, the other battalions roll up in Avelius to back Ike. Next, it cuts to Ike in a meeting with them, and one of the battalion leaders is curious about what kind of magic Ike used to fix the gate so fast. Ike casually says he just put the humans on shifts and paid them wages. The werewolf chimes in, saying he's heard that paying humans works better than forcing them to work, and thinks it's wild that Ike pulled that off. Suddenly, a flying army commander crashes through the roof, complaining that the room's too cramped. Ike explains it's because the place is built for humans, and the flying demon realizes that everyone's gathered now. Fiorentina steps up and tells the crew that Saphiro has put Ike in charge of this battle, and everyone's gotta follow his orders. The other battalion commanders are cool with it since they know Ike's got skills, especially after hearing that he took down Bastio. The flying demon then mentions that the enemy's rolling with 12,000 soldiers, and he's stressed since they've only got 2,000. He's wondering how they're supposed to pull this off, and the werewolf suggests that each of their soldiers just needs to take out 6 humans to clinch the win. Ike tells him that not everyone in their army is as beastly as the werewolf brigade, and the flying demon throws out the idea of a night raid. But Ike shuts it down. He explains that he's already scoped out the human army, and he's sure they've got mages who'll use some sort of elimination or detection magic to keep watch at night. Another battalion commander asks Ike what the plan is, and Ike says they're gonna fight them right here. He breaks it down, saying even a big army can get weak when they're outnumbered, and they fall apart more easily. He goes on, explaining that he's gonna let the enemy think they're winning, and when their confidence is sky high, he'll swoop in and take them all down at once. He's determined to wrap up this war fast and keep the casualties low. Next, we cut to the human army on the move, and back at Avelia's, Sati and Piggy are cleaning up the mess the flying demon left behind. While they're tidying up, Ike is deep in thought, planning out the strategy for the war. Sati mentions how the city's gotten more lively, and Ike wonders if she's scared. She admits some of the other humans are a little shaken, but she's good. She knows everyone's here to protect the place, and they're all solid people. Ike nods in agreement, and Sati says she's gonna do her best to help by cooking for everyone. Ike figures it's gotta be tough for her to cook for so many soldiers, but Sati brushes it off, saying it's no big deal. Her only struggle is deciding what to make since most of the dishes that work for a big crowd are soups. Ike starts looking for a recipe book, but Sati tells him not to worry about it. But Ike insists, saying it's part of his job, and he knows that what the soldiers eat can affect their morale. He's just glad they're not running low on food, thanks to their Norfolk system of farming. He finally finds a recipe for fried rice and suggests Sati give it a shot. The scene then shows Sati in the kitchen, carefully frying an egg, adding rice, and tossing in some meat and veggies. She fries it up a bit more and plates it. Afterward, she and Ike sit down to eat, and Ike points out that they can make a lot of it pretty fast since it doesn't take long. The smells got Sati's mouth watering, and she's sure the demon soldiers are gonna love it too. Just as they're about to dig in, Piggy and the succubus show up, drawn in by the mouth-watering smell, and want some too. Sati serves them up, and the 3 of them chow down while Ike watches, unable to take off his mask in front of them. Lily, the succubus, then asks for seconds, and Sati gladly gives her another plateful. Lily feels like this is a bit over the top, and Sati tells her she needs to eat up and toughen up with the war coming. But Lily catches on that Sati's just trying to make her put on some weight. Ike notices the tension building and steps in before they start going at it again. Meanwhile, the piggy's chowing down and notices Ike isn't eating. Ike says he'll eat later and asks if the food's any good. The piggy's all about it, saying it's fire and the army's gonna love it too. He adds that there's meat in it, so the meat lovers in the crew will be happy, which makes Ike glad to hear. Next, we see Ike getting his army ready for war, with the wall fully repaired. Ike thinks he just needs to kick his plan into gear now, and a demon on the lookout spots the Royal Alliance army heading their way. When the word gets out, all the demons rush to their battle stations, and the piggy brings the news to Ike. Sati wishes him luck, and Ike heads out to the battlefield. After that, we see Ike's army in position on the wall, and he tells them that if the Royal Alliance army takes this spot, they're gonna hit Arsenal next, so they can't let that happen. He lays it down that they've got to hold this place no matter what. Meanwhile, the human army's general is let down by how small Avelia's is. His commander says they might not even need the whole Alliance army to take it. But the general shoots back that this isn't just a war, it's a crusade. He orders his army to attack, and they fire the catapults. But Ike throws up a barrier to block it. The general tells them to fire again, but Ike's barrier holds strong. The demons are pumped to see this, and Ike notices nothing out of the ordinary with how the humans are attacking. He figures his plan will work if things keep rolling like this, and the piggy and Lily start hyping him up for his strategy and strength. He brushes it off, telling them flattery won't get them anywhere, and he starts thinking about their next move since they've blocked 2 strikes already. The general orders another catapult volley, and his soldiers fire away. But the demons think they're dumb for trying the same move again and again. Ike tries to block this round with his barrier too, but the human army's mages manage to break through it, and the demons take some hits from the attack. The general of the human army sends his first squad to roll out, and they charge straight at the demon fortress. Ike's got a bad feeling about how this is gonna play out, and the piggy tells him the gun squad's ready to pop off. But Ike holds them back, and an ogre comes out of nowhere, chucking huge boulders and smashing a bunch of the human troops. The rest of the squad is shaken, watching their boys get crushed, and then the demons start raining arrows down on them. Some of the humans get hit, but the rest manage to block the arrows with their shields. The ogre tries to go in again, but the human crossbow unit takes him down. Then, the crossbow squad starts shooting at the demons on the wall, and Piggy and Fiorentina are booking it, dodging arrows left and right. The demons fire back with their bow squadron, but Ike throws up a barrier to protect his crew from the arrows. Some of the humans manage to get a ladder up on the wall to start climbing, but the demons push back hard, keeping them off. Seeing this, the human commander realizes these demons aren't backing down easily. He figures it's just a matter of time before they win, and the general casually asks him what's for dinner tonight. The commander is caught off guard by the question, and the general drops the bomb that he plans to wrap up by dinner. The commander's wondering how the general's gonna pull that off, and the general tells him to set up another catapult attack. The commander points out that this could hurt their own guys, but the general doesn't give a damn, so the commander follows orders. The humans fire the catapult, and Ike tries to block it with his barrier, but the mages break his magic, and the demons get hit hard by the catapults. The humans don't get off easy either, and when the dust clears, it's clear a lot of demons are messed up. Fiorentina's shocked to see the humans hit their own, and Ike's fuming, seeing the pointless slaughter all around him. The fortress wall's been breached too. The human general just laughs, feeling himself, and orders the second squad to go in for the kill. The second squad tries to move through the breach, but the demons come at them, ready to throw down. Meanwhile, inside the city, Sati's taking care of the wounded demons, and Ike's gearing up for a counterattack. We cut to the human army's general, chillin', sipping on tea, just waiting to seal the deal and win this war. He's hoping they can wrap things up quick. The commander sends in the third squad for backup, and now the second and third squads are tag-teaming the demons, hitting them hard. Back at the fort, Ike's caught off guard by how fast the humans are hitting back, but he's convinced he's about to flip the script. Sati's out here patching up the wounded, keeping an eye on how the fight's going down. She's hoping Ike's holding up okay. Then, we see Lily, deep in the mix, going toe-to-toe with the humans, but the sheer number of soldiers is overwhelming her. The rest of the demons are getting worked too, and Piggy's lining up the gun squad to fire, but he's worried about friendly fire with all the chaos. Bayo's werewolf squad jumps into the action, tearing through humans like they're nothing, knocking them down one by one. No human can stand up to them. Desperate, the humans start piling on numbers against just one demon. The gun squad finally lets loose, and even though the humans try to block with shields, the bullets rip right through, taking out a ton of them. Freaked out by these strange weapons, the humans start falling back. The werewolf squad's ready to chase them down, but Ike pulls them back, leaving Bayo frustrated. With a quick glance at the battlefield, Fiorentina recalls their strategy meeting, where Ike made it clear they need a fast win with the least bloodshed possible. Gamos, the ogre leader, was all in on the plan, but the fanged beast leader had doubts. Ike told them to bring their A game, and Bayo, feeling some type of way, wondered if Ike thought less of them now that he's the vice commander. Fiorentina calmed him down, telling him to hear Ike out first. Ike asked Bayo how long he could go full throttle. Bayo said an hour, which impressed Ike, but he knew the squad wouldn't last that long. Bayo admitted they could barely hang for half an hour, so Ike told them to go all out for 10 minutes, then fall back. Bayo wasn't sure 10 minutes was enough, but Ike was confident it'd work. Back in the present, some soldiers are trying to rush through the breach in the wall, but Fiorentina uses her alchemy to throw up demon spikes, sealing it off. She's feeling good. Everything's falling into place. Then, the ogre squad busts through the wall and starts crushing humans left and right. Fiorentina's annoyed they just wrecked the wall she fixed, but she remembers Ike saying, sometimes allies not following the plan is still part of the plan. The ogres keep smashing, and the humans, shook by their power, start retreating. So, while Ike was breaking down the game plan to the crew, he mentioned that Gamos would step in after Bayo's squad pulled back. Bayo got heated, thinking maybe Ike didn't trust them, but Gamos knew what was up. He laid it out Ike wanted them to take shifts in the fight, same way he handled fixing up the gate. Ike confirmed it, but Bayo still wasn't getting the whole picture. Ike had to explain that the longer they fought, the weaker they'd get, but if they rotated in and out, their squad would stay sharp, while the humans got tired and sloppy. Bayo had to admit, that was some smart thinking. Fast forward, Gomos's squad was still scrapping with the humans who hadn't bounced yet. One of the humans slipped through and climbed the wall, trying to go after Fiorentina, but Piggy handled him real quick and told Fiorentina to stay sharp. Then we jumped back to that strategy talk. Bayo asked Ike if they really had a shot at taking down the whole human army, knowing there were still a ton of them attacking the city. Ike broke it down. That's when Fiorentina's alchemists and Piggy's gun squad would step in, thinning out the enemy and cutting their range. Fiorentina understood what Ike was aiming for. They had to bait the humans in closer on purpose. Ike checked if she could pull it off, since it was going to be the hardest part of the plan. Fiorentina agreed, even if it meant risking her life, but Ike shut that down, telling her the point was to keep the body count low. Now, back to the action. Humans were getting their catapults ready. But as soon as they tried to fire, rocks started smashing their stuff. The fanged beasts were out there on Ike's orders, running guerrilla hits and tearing up the enemy's heavy weapons. Ike let them know the human army was over 12,000 deep, with backup waiting in the wings. The demons were frustrated as hell. Then Ike dropped more knowledge. The human general came from some big-name family, all about his own status and staying safe. Fiorentina realized they'd need to take this guy out if they wanted to turn things around. Ike told her that the general would make a move if they shifted the momentum. He said he was going after the general to capture him. Bayo was confused why Ike wanted to take him alive instead of ending him, but Ike told him to let that be his problem and not to act without orders. They decided to trust him, and he gave them a nod of thanks, saying they were about to win this war. Now, back to the present. The Fanged Beast Battalion is still dropping rocks on the humans. Piggy is feeling good, watching Ike's plan come together. Fiorentina's hoping Saphiro is doing okay. Remembering Ike said she'd be part of the battle, he gave her a key mission. Right now, Saphiro is on watch, keeping an eye on the human army's reserve troops. She's frustrated, can't believe she's running errands for Ike when she's supposed to be the general. Then she spots the commander of the reserves and thinks he looks pretty tasty. Back at the fort, the demons are tearing the humans apart. The humans, even though they've got numbers, are all confused. The human general gets word that part of their wall has been breached, but they can't push forward. Their second and third squads are almost wiped out. Hearing this, one of the commanders tells the general they should fall back, warning that pressing on could be risky, but the general ignores him, ordering an all-out attack. He brushes off the commander's caution, saying if 2 squads aren't enough to beat these demons, they'll just send more. He's not about to lose face over a small city, and even declares he'll step into the fight himself to lift morale. With no other choice, the commander tells the soldiers to get ready for the charge and lets them know the general will be fighting alongside them. The soldiers get hyped and start marching toward the fort. Piggy's shocked to see them charging hard even after losing 2 squads. He's wondering if humans even know how to feel fear. Fiorentina cuts in, saying they're just dumb. Piggy starts thinking about how this battle might never end without a solid plan. Fiorentina points out that it's their time to make a move. Suddenly, the human army's advance is halted by a huge crack that splits the ground, and a bunch of soldiers fall in and die. The ones still alive start freaking out, thinking demon mages might have done this, and wonder where their own magicians are. Turns out, the demons already captured them. Fiorentina watches, wondering if this is Ike's magic, and she's straight up amazed. The human general sees all this and is totally confused. His horse catches the vibe of something powerful nearby and bolts, leaving him stranded. That's when the general spots Ike standing right in front of him. Ike tells the general that their army took heavy losses just to track him down. He makes it clear the general's going to pay for it, saying everything ends once he takes him out. Ike's confident that once the general is dead, his army will fall back and pin the blame on him. Ike offers to let him live if he orders the retreat right away. The general, feeling all smug, thinks Ike won't dare to kill him because he needs him to give the order. But then, out of nowhere, the Dwarven King swings his axe and drops the general to his knees. Gunther steps up, asking if the general remembers him, then vows to get revenge for what happened back in the day. He moves in for the kill, but Ike stops him with magic. Gunther, totally confused, demands to know what Ike's doing. He's dead set on killing the general, but Ike's magic locks him down. Realizing the tables have turned, the general begs for his life and quickly orders his troops to fall back. And just like that, the whole army retreats. Gunther watches them go and thinks the humans will definitely be back one day. He thanks Ike for saving them, but warns Ike he'll regret letting the humans walk. Ike isn't worried, figuring they'll be stronger the next time the humans show up. The demons start celebrating, proud they took down an army 10 times bigger than theirs. They decide to drink to their victory. Piggy, overjoyed, throws himself at Ike, hugging him tight. Ike tries to push him off, but Piggy's not letting go. Lily jumps in, telling Piggy to back off and let her have her rightful spot by Ike's side. But Piggy doesn't budge, so Lily grabs onto Ike too. Sati then strolls in, bragging about how she helped heal the wounded during the fight, and she jumps into the mix. The 3 of them start fighting for Ike's attention, while he's stuck begging them to stop, worried they'll choke him out. The battalion leaders, watching from a distance, think their general was smart for picking someone like Ike as vice commander. They're happy they got to show off their skills and even believe Ike could have won the war solo. But Fiorentina disagrees, reminding them that Ike said this chaotic strategy only worked because he had solid allies backing him up. The other leaders are impressed by this and start thinking of Ike as a reliable partner. Meanwhile, Saphiro is squaring off against the reserve forces. Their leader steps up to face her, but then he notices their army pulling back. Saphiro thinks he's lucky and tells him they'll cross paths again before retreating with the rest of the troops. Saphiro is impressed, but not surprised. This is exactly what she expected from Ike. She figures it's better to move soon, but decides to leave the final call to the Demon Lord. Ike, meanwhile, surveys the battlefield, taking in the aftermath of the fight. Sephiroth gives Ike his props for holding down the city against the invasion, but Ike isn't about taking all the credit. He's quick to say that the win was all about everyone grinding hard together. That's just how he rolls, staying humble. Now that Ike's had a quick 20-minute breather, Sephiroth's already lining up his next big mission. She tells him to head over to Zenobia, breaking down that the humans are probably about to go all in with a serious attack soon, so they've got to be ready for it. The reason she's thinking that way is because they just took down the Alliance, and that win is bound to make the humans come back even harder. The demon army's got a problem now, they're running low on supplies. Ike's new farming methods have helped boost their crop production, but it still isn't enough to feed the whole army. Evalia's has been hurting for food ever since the war got real intense, so Sephiroth wants Ike to hit up the Federation and work out a trade deal. She's always throwing him into impossible situations, but this time, Ike thinks he's got a way out. He points out that humans wouldn't be down to negotiate directly with demons. Sephiroth agrees but reminds him that since he's human, he won't have that problem. Ike can't argue with that, so now he's got no choice but to gear up and head out. As soon as Piggy and Lily catch wind of Ike's trip, they rush into his office, asking if he's really going all the way to Zenobia. Ike nods and says he'll be gone for a minute. Piggy immediately offers to roll with him as his bodyguard, but Lily jumps in, saying Ike should take her instead since she'd be a way better travel buddy. They start bickering about who gets to go, but Ike shuts them both down, saying he needs them to stay back in Evalia's. They're not feeling it, but Ike insists he's got important jobs for them to handle. He points out that Evalia's has been getting a lot of attention lately, bringing in new refugees and everything, so he needs Lily to handle any trouble that comes up. Meanwhile, he wants Piggy to manage the city. A few hours later, Ike is out in the woods with Sati, making his way to Zenobia. Sati's glad to have someone on one time with Ike, but she's also feeling a little guilty for Piggy and Lily since she knows they were dying to come, and Ike didn't even stick around to say goodbye. Sati's curious about Zenobia since she's never been there, so she asks Ike what kind of country it is. But Ike sets her straight, telling her Zenobia isn't a country at all. It's actually a trading city down south, and it's the head of the Trade Federation. Being a trade hub, Zenobia's got a crazy variety of crops unique to the south, plus a whole lot of herbs and spices. Sati's pretty excited, thinking about all the fresh fruits and veggies they can grab while they're there. Ike agrees but lets her know it's more than that. Zenobia's got everything, and by everything, Ike means it's the place where they can score the supplies that'll make or break the demon army's future. Sati wonders if it's really possible for demons and humans to come together and sign a treaty. Ike's straight up with her, he doesn't see it happening. But that's exactly why he brought Sati along, to show that humans and demons can actually vibe together. As they're riding, Ike hears some chaos up ahead, and it turns out a group of bandits is going after a carriage. The guards trying to fend them off aren't really cutting it, especially against the bandit leader, who's built like a tank, strong as 2.5 men, or at least heavy like them. He's tearing through anyone who gets in his way. Once he clears out the guards by the door, he opens the carriage and checks out the young lady inside. He's already getting some twisted ideas about what he's gonna do with her, but before he can act on it, he gets knocked out off screen, and a bunch of his crew is already tied up. Ike steps up to the carriage and tells the girl he's here to rescue her, but when he gets a good look at her, he's hit with the realization that she bears a striking resemblance to Sati. It's a weird coincidence, but there's no time to dwell on it because more bandits roll up out of nowhere. Ike handles them by using his magic to trap them with roots. Once that's sorted, he heads over to the injured guards and uses some healing magic to patch them up. The guard captain is grateful and offers to do something to pay Ike back, but Ike's not looking for anything in return. Just when he's about to bounce, the girl from the carriage steps up, introduces herself as Yuria, the daughter of Zenobia's leader, and offers Ike a ride to Zenobia. On the way, she thanks him again for coming through and saving her. Yuria is seriously impressed with Ike's magic skills, especially after he snatched up those red birds with ease. To keep things on the low, Ike introduces himself as a mage from Ismuth and plays it cool, introducing Sati as his maid. He then asks Yuria what's got her so far out from Zenobia. She shares that she was supposed to be in an arranged marriage with some big shot guy, but it didn't work out. Ike's taken aback, wondering why any dude would pass on a girl as stunning as Yuria, but Yuria clears it up, saying she was the one who backed out of the engagement. Now that she's met Ike, she's feeling even better about that decision. When they get to the city, they head straight to the office of Zenobia's leader. The leader, Eltria, introduces herself but is buried in work, so she keeps grinding while they talk. Ike feels like he hit the jackpot running into the leader's daughter, especially since Eltria's the one he needs to meet. But he knows there's still a lot of negotiation ahead. Eltria asks Yuria to step out of the office for a bit because there's something she wants to discuss with Ike in private. As soon as Yuria leaves, Eltria hits Ike with a surprising question, asking what a member of the demon army wants with her. Ike's caught off guard that she figured out his connection to the demon army, so he asks how she put the pieces together. Eltria breaks it down. She knows there aren't any mages from Ismuth with Ike's name, and with his level of power, he'd definitely be known if he were really from there. She points out that with the demon army at war with the Alliance of Kings, for a mage like him to show up here lying about where he's from, it only makes sense he's with the demon army. It's rare to see a human rolling with demon, though, so she's still puzzled by a few things. Ike admits that while he's human, he was raised by the undying King Rolmerg, so he considers himself a demon too. But that doesn't mean he's tossed his humanity aside. Eltria cuts to the chase, asking what Ike wants from her. He lays it out, saying he's hoping to set up a trade treaty between the Federation and the demon army. Eltria's never heard of a trade treaty with demons before, and she's skeptical, asking why she'd even consider it when the demon's goal has always been to wipe out humanity. Ike steps in, telling her that might have been true in the past, but things have changed. He's fighting now to bring humans and demons together, to make coexistence a reality. Eltria's heard whispers that the current demon lord is different, but she's not convinced. She's worried the demon army might eventually slide back to its old ways. Ike insists that won't happen, but he knows he's got nothing solid to prove it. Eltria shuts down the conversation, saying she's got nothing more to discuss. Before Ike leaves, she asks if he's got any last words, and he decides to play his trump card, saying, "I heard you've got a pirate problem. I can take care of that." At first, Eltria isn't buying it, but then she remembers those pirates have been a massive pain, causing damage that's as big as the city's entire yearly budget. She tells Ike she'll consider his proposal if he can deal with the pirate threat. But she's got one condition: he's gotta marry Yuria. Ike is floored, thinking he must have heard wrong because Eltria's demand comes out of nowhere. He tries to talk her out of it, pointing out that he's part of the demon army. But that's exactly why Eltria wants this. She sees that Ike's smart, loyal, and with his skills, he's destined to become the leader of the demon army someday. She's looking to build a strong alliance now, before he rises even higher. Just then, someone bursts into the room, letting Eltria know that the pirates are attacking the port again, and they need to move fast. Down at the port, the pirates have docked their ship and started looting everything in sight, grabbing goods and women while taking out every man they come across. Leading them is Karosa, the pirate king, and the city doesn't have much time before things get even worse. Eltria turns to Ike, asking if he's down with her terms or not. Ike agrees and rushes down to the port since teleportation isn't an option, and by the time he gets there, the pirates have already wrecked the place and left. Ike finds the guard captain in the middle of the destruction, helps him up, and learns that the port was hit by just a single pirate ship. That's way less than Ike expected, but the guard captain tells him not to sleep on these pirates because their leader, Karosa, is a mage, and he's got a knack for hitting them when they least expect it. Since the pirates are long gone by now, Ike suggests they gear up for the next time the pirates roll through and get ready to strike back. While they're getting everything set, Yuria approaches Ike, saying she's got something serious to discuss. It's about their marriage, and Ike's thinking she's probably against it. But she flips the script. Yuria's thrilled. She fell for Ike the moment he saved her, and she's all in on wanting him as her husband. Ike's stunned, wondering how she could feel so strongly about him when they've known each other less than 12 hours. But Yuria's feelings are the real deal. Ike tries to explain that he doesn't have anything against Yuria, but getting married this fast feels a bit too wild. Meanwhile, Sati's been peeping the whole scene from the doorway, and she's blown away by how bold Yuria is with her proposal after barely knowing Ike. Sati can't help but feel a little jealous, knowing she won't be the one marrying Ike to distract herself. She decides to hit the streets and do some shopping. While she's out, one of the pirates, who's been laying low in the city, spots her. Since Sati and Yuria look so much alike, he mistakes Sati for Yuria. He sneaks up on her when she's walking down an alley and knocks her out cold. When Sati comes to, she finds herself on the pirate ship and overhears the pirate talking about how he's planning to hand her over to the captain to score a promotion. Sati knows she's got to escape before things get worse, so she bolts, trying to make it back to Ike. But as soon as she hits the front deck, she realizes she's stuck in the middle of the ocean. Now she's really in a tight spot. After Karosa spots Sati, he starts to think if she's the girl his crew nabbed. His man confirms it, and Karosa figures out they grabbed the wrong person. But he's not too worried, he needed a maid anyway, so it's all good. In the middle of all this, Sati starts thinking about her master. Meanwhile, back in town, Ike gets the news that Sati's been snatched. The soldier who was supposed to protect her feels guilty and apologizes, thinking pirates are behind the whole thing. They figure the pirates have probably made a break for the sea, which makes tracking them down tricky. Ike isn't deterred. He decides he's going to find them himself and asks Eltria for a ship. She's on board with the plan and lends him a vessel called Vedani. Next thing we see, Ike's out on the sea aboard the Vedani, determined to reach Sati before it's too late. As he sails, memories of the good times he shared with her flood his mind, and he vows to rescue her no matter what. Meanwhile, back on the pirate ship, Sati's been forced into wearing a revealing outfit that caters to Karosa's twisted preferences, leaving her feeling humiliated and confused as to why she's being made to dress this way. Karosa lays it out for her, saying that a maid's job is to serve her master, no questions asked. He tells her she needs to obey his every command and make sure he's satisfied. Sati isn't having it, and she recalls how, when Ike made her his maid, He promised to protect her in exchange for her service. He'd asked her if she was cool with that arrangement, and Sati had agreed, determined to survive and make her way back to Ike. Sati tells Kurosa she'd rather do something more maid-like than stay chained up. She offers to cook for him, and Kurosa gives her the green light. The scene shifts to the kitchen, where Sati starts prepping some vegetables. She sizes up the guards keeping an eye on her and scans the kitchen for anything that could help her escape. She comes up with a plan and asks the guards if there's any alcohol around. When they ask why she needs it, she tells them she's looking for something strong to use as a seasoning to make the food taste even better. They bring her some alcohol, and she pours it into a pan while grilling some meat. The alcohol causes the pan to flare up, and as the guards scramble to put out the fire, Sati accidentally spills alcohol on one of them, causing the flames to spread to his clothes. The other guard jumps in to help put out the fire, giving Sati the perfect chance to slip out of the kitchen. Once the guard manages to save his buddy, they tell Sati to clean up the mess. But when they turn around, she's gone. Next thing, we see Sati making a break for it, dodging pirates along the way by hiding. The pirates hear the ruckus coming from the kitchen and head over, assuming it's just their crew fighting over food. Meanwhile, Sati finds herself in a hiding spot surrounded by crates. She opens one up and discovers loot that's probably been stolen from the town. She thinks about telling her master, but then it hits her they're on a ship in the middle of the ocean. Even though her master's strong, finding her out here won't be easy. As she's thinking this over, she spots a burning candle nearby, and an idea sparks in her mind. The scene shifts to Kurosa, who's all hyped up over another revealing maid outfit, eager to see Sati in it. Just then, one of his men rushes in, panicked, and tells him the ship's on fire. The scene cuts to show the entire ship ablaze. We find out that Sati is the mastermind behind the chaos, hiding inside a barrel. She's hoping her master will notice the fire. The pirates start searching the ship, determined to catch her and make her pay for crossing them. While Sati stays hidden, things go quiet outside, so Sati decides to peek out, only to find the two guards from before standing right in front of her. They brag about their sharp noses, saying they can sniff out a woman sent anywhere, and kick the barrel to force her out. They tell her to surrender, but Sati's not backing down. She smashes one of them with the barrel lid, Captain America style. She takes off, certain that her master will come through for her, but Kurosa isn't about to let her go that easy. He uses magic to immobilize one of her legs and tells her he's not going to kill her, but she's going to pay for what she did. He decides to take one of her legs as punishment. Just as one of the pirates moves to hack off her leg, Ike shows up in the nick of time and blasts the pirate away, saving her. Kurosa squints at Ike and asks who he is. Ike steps up, saying he made a promise to protect Sati, and he's here to keep that promise. He warns Kurosa and his crew that they won't get away with what they've done. Sati rushes to Ike's side, and Kurosa, not backing down, orders his men to kill him. They charge, but Ike throws up a barrier spell, taking out some of them with lightning magic. Ike then uses wind magic to send the rest of Kurosa's crew flying off the ship. Sati, amazed by how quick it all went down, wonders if it's really over. Ike checks on her, asking if she's alright. She nods, and Ike's relieved to see she's safe. She thanks him for his concern, even though she thinks of herself as just a slave, someone who could be replaced without a second thought. But Ike shuts that down, telling her she's his maid, and he'll never abandon her. He says he saw her signal from afar, proof that she believed in him. He praises her for her bravery. Before they can enjoy their moment, Kurosa, still on the ship, cuts in, realizing Ike isn't an ordinary mage. He fires a water cannon at Ike and Sati, but Ike blocks it with another barrier. Kurosa's impressed that Ike found the ship, but declares that Sati belongs to him now. He launches another water magic attack, but Ike dodges, protecting Sati again. Ike then retreats into the ship, with Kurosa hot on his heels, confident they can't escape since they're trapped on a ship. Kurosa strikes again with a water cannon, this time blasting them off the ship. He briefly thinks he might have gone too far, but then he notices Ike, still floating above the water with Sati. Ike begins charging up a powerful water spell and reminds Kurosa that he warned him there's no escaping this. Ike unleashes a spell called Aqua Tempest, and from a distance, Ike's crew on another ship sees the chaos and wonders what's going down. Suddenly, Kurosa gets flung onto their ship, leaving them in shock. Moments later, Ike and Sati arrive on the scene, and Ike calmly tells them it's time to head back. The scene then shifts to their ship returning to Trade City with the captured pirates in tow. Ike tells Sati that he only managed to capture the pirates because of her quick thinking. Thanks to her stunt, they not only found the pirates, but also recovered the stolen goods. Sati's grinning from ear to ear, feeling good hearing him praise her. Then we cut to Eltria, who's giving Ike props for capturing the pirates without taking them out. Ike keeps it real, saying, "I don't do unnecessary killing." Eltria is surprised, hearing this from someone rolling with the Demon Lord's army. She tells him, "Let's get to our trade deal now, since you've met my conditions." She also warns him to keep this deal under wraps, because nothing good will come if the Alliance of Nations finds out about it. Ike's cool with that, and is thankful she's willing to trade with them. She brings up discussing the terms of the deal in detail, so they start breaking it all down. The scene shifts to a city torn apart by war. where we see demon bodies lying all over the ruins. The other demons are wounded and struggling, and Saphiro isn't doing much better. One of her crew members is trying to patch her up, but they're running real low on supplies, barely enough to last 3 days. Fiorentina finds out they didn't even manage to grab any rations in this destroyed city they attacked. That's when they realize they've been tricked into attacking this place, and Saphiro figures out the Alliance army is aiming to starve them out. She declares she's heading back into battle, but Fiorentina advises against it, pointing out she's not fully healed. Saphiro knows sitting around isn't going to improve anything. She's dead set on taking down as many humans as possible, even if it costs her life. Then, the scene cuts to Zenobia, where Ike is suited up in a sharp outfit. Sati shows up in a stunning dress and gives Ike a compliment on his look. He returns the favor, wondering if she's strong enough to be out of bed. She insists she's fine and mentions it would be a waste not to attend the party, especially since it's being held in their honor. Plus, she doesn't want this beautiful dress from Eltria to go unused. Suddenly, Yuria comes running up, jumping into Ike's arms, teasing him about leaving her behind. He chuckles and gently tries to get her to let go. She ain't catching on, so Sati lets her know that folks around them are giving them the side eye. Seeing this, Yuria lets Ike go. Sati then straightens out Ike's crooked dress, and they roll into the party hall. As they step in, all eyes are on Ike, thinking he looks like just some regular dude. They can't believe this is who Yuria's fallen for. Yuria tells him to chill, saying she thinks he's fine as hell, and he thanks her for that. They go to meet up with Eltria, and she tells her daughter she's looking cute as usual. Eltria mentions she's got an eye for talent, picking Ike as her man, and Yuria says it ain't shocking since she's her daughter. Then Eltria says she's leaving Yuria in Ike's care now, which catches Ike off guard. He asks what she means, and Eltria explains that the treaty's done, so he's gotta meet the last condition. Next thing, Charlie Chaplin's announcing Ike and Yuria's marriage, and Ike's wondering how he ended up in a wedding when he just came here for a business deal. Eltria warns him that if he refuses, she'll cancel the trade deal. Ike's feeling blindsided, but then something crashes into the party hall just in time to get Ike out of the situation. The whole mansion gets wrapped up in some kind of white fog, and Ike spots the demon lord in front of him. She orders him to return with her immediately, or Saphiro's gonna die. Meanwhile, Saphiro is on the brink of losing her life against the human army. Dyrk breaks it down, saying that Saphiro managed to take over Alesta, but it was a setup by the Alliance. They pulled her into the castle and then surrounded the entire city, making sure there's no way out. Ike asks, "How many troops are we up against?" And Dyrk replies that there's around 5,000, but there's no time to waste, so Ike needs to make his move fast. She's done everything possible to get Ike's brigade ready to roll, and before Ike tries to argue, yes, she has the power to rescue Saphiro on her own, but she wants him to be the one to do it. Out near Alesta, General Rudel gets word that the city's going to fall sooner or later, with all the pressure that's been building up on them, so Rudel decides to personally lead the next wave of attack. Meanwhile, inside the city walls, Fiorentina is holding her own against the human forces. She commands the remaining ogre soldiers to hold their ground and keep the humans from overrunning them inside the city. Unfortunately, the humans have archers among them, so they're picking off a lot of the ogres before they even get a chance to fight back. Fiorentina, though, manages to protect herself from the rain of arrows, charging straight at the human soldiers, taking them down one by one. She might still be able to hold her own against the humans, but in the next moment, she's hit by a bolt of lightning from a human mage. The mage applauds her for being strong, but tells her that this is the end of the line while he's around. Back in Evalia's, Ike and Sati teleport in, and Sati is impressed by how smooth teleportation magic is, but she's even happier that Ike's engagement to Yuria has been postponed for now. Ike, though, still plans to return to Zenobia whenever he wants since he can just teleport back there at any time. Moments later, Piggy comes running into Ike's office, looking real worried about something. Ike asks him what's going on, and Piggy explains that the Alliance of Kings launched an all-out attack on Evalia's while Ike was gone. The city's in bad shape. People have been seriously hurt in the attack, and Piggy can't believe that the Alliance would target Evalia's too. The city would have been completely taken over if help hadn't come through, and though it sounds unbelievable, Piggy tells Ike that the one who saved Evalia's was a young girl. This girl was incredibly strong, handling all the enemy forces by herself. Ike takes in what's happening and tells Piggy that he's heading to Alesta right away to back up Saphiro. He needs to know how many troops are ready to move out right now. Piggy explains that around 100 soldiers were wounded in the last battle, so they only have about 500 left in good shape for a fight. But they still need to leave some soldiers behind in case there's another attack, and his guess of 500 is probably overestimating what they've got. Piggy then asks Ike how many troops the enemy has, and Ike breaks it down. They're up against 5,000, and to be real, the chances of pulling off a win are looking rough. It would have been a lot easier if the other brigade leaders were here to help, but they're all tied up with other assignments, so Ike's squad is gonna have to face this alone. While they're discussing, Dwarf King steps into Ike's office, offering his help, saying he might be able to settle his debt to Ike by helping with this situation. Ike tells Dwarf King that there's no need for him to step in since all the guns he and his people crafted were already more than enough to repay Ike. But Dwarf King insists, feeling like he owes Ike even more after everything Ike's done for him. On top of that, there are hundreds of dwarven warriors here with him, ready to step up and fight in the upcoming battle. Ike asks if Dwarf King is really sure about this, reminding him that the battle they're fighting has nothing to do with the dwarves. But Dwarf King's invested in the outcome of this fight. If the demon army wins and unifies the world, it'll work out great for the dwarves since Ike promised them their own country. Ike acknowledges that he did make that promise, but with the way things are going, the demon army is struggling right now, so he might end up not being able to fulfill it. Dwarf King isn't worried, though saying that if the demon army loses, then it's whatever. But Ike gave the dwarves a home when they were wandering without one, and for that alone, Dwarf King is ready to stick by Ike to the very end as payback for what Ike did for them. Ike thanks Dwarf King for his loyalty and accepts his help, but it turns out Dwarf King isn't the only one ready to fight by Ike's side. All the uninjured humans in Avelia's have stepped up, ready to join the battle too. Ike looks at them and asks if they're sure about fighting with him, knowing that means they're siding with the demon army in this war. The people come up to Ike, telling him straight that they've got no clue how long this war is going to drag on, but they're done sitting back and watching. They want to fight with their own hands to protect their homes. The old ruler of Avelia's had them buried under impossible taxes, making them work themselves to the bone just to meet the demands. But since Ike took charge, things in Avelia's have gotten way better than they ever were before. Any hate they had for demons has been long gone, especially after the last battle where demons stepped up and sacrificed themselves to get humans to safety. Without Ike stepping in, these people probably wouldn't even be alive to see today. They owe him more than enough for giving them a chance at a better life. Piggy, on the other hand, ain't cool with the idea of humans lending a hand. Before he can even finish saying anything, Lily knocks him flat for daring to think he can tell Ike what to do, and Sati jumps in right after, roasting Piggy for his stupid behavior. When they're done with him, Piggy's laying on the ground, questioning his whole life. Meanwhile, Ike turns to address all the people who said they'd fight with him. He tells them he's splitting up the forces into two groups. One group is heading to Alesta with him, while the other group will stay behind to protect Avelia's. But Ike makes it real clear to the group staying behind that there's a serious risk. The Alliance of Kings could attack again while he's away. If that happens, Ike knows there's no chance they can win. So, he tells them straight up, if the Alliance attacks, surrender right away. If they try to put up a fight, the Alliance will brand them as traitors, show no mercy, and might even execute them all. Whatever they do, they shouldn't try to provoke the Alliance of Kings. Next morning, Ike and his troops set out on their journey to Alesta. It's gonna take about 4 days to get there by land. Thanks to all the support, Ike's squad has gotten bigger, but the enemy in Alesta still has way more numbers. So Ike's already thinking of a strategy to deal with that. All he can do now is hope that Saphiro and the others can hold on until he arrives. Meanwhile, back in Alesta, Saphiro is doing everything in her power to keep the humans at bay, but they're slowly getting overrun because of how outnumbered they are. Saphiro needs to come up with a plan to separate the soldiers inside the walls from the ones outside, or it won't be long before the demons fall completely. As she's floating over the battlefield, she's thinking about dropping a meteor strike, but she can't pull that move just yet, cause the orcs are still in the way, and she ain't trying to cause any unnecessary damage. She switches up and locks in on the troops outside the wall instead. Just when she's moving toward them, out of nowhere, she gets blasted out of the sky by the human mage, crashing hard to the ground. The plan was to trap and capture Saphiro, but she ain't going down easy. She throws a divine spell that grabs hold of all the soldiers so she can make her escape. She's using vines to shield herself from the mage's attacks, giving her just enough cover to get to a rooftop nearby. But all this heavy use of mana is starting to take its toll. She's trying to push through so she can hit the soldiers outside the wall. But in the middle of casting, General Rudel hits her with a direct shot to the chest. She drops to the ground, and they end up capturing her. By the next morning, most of Saphiro's troops are gone, wiped out. Now, the soldiers are trying to figure out which body parts to take for the best rewards. One of the demons, still barely holding on, tries to take out some humans, but the human mage burns it to a crisp dude's having too much fun. Meanwhile, Saphiro's locked up in the dungeon, and Rudel is on his way to see her. The guard watching her tells Rudel that she's alive but suggests they kill her right then, claiming there's no point keeping her around. Rudel says he's met Saphiro before, and she remembers him too. He's the same soldier she delayed during her first battle with the Alliance. She's kinda wishing she'd taken him out back then, but it's too late now. Rudel brings up one of Saphiro's subordinates, saying no good soldier would just let their commander get captured. That's when it hits her Rudel's planning to use her as bait to bring Ike in, and then kill him too. Rudel lets her know he's got orders to wipe out the entire 7th Brigade, but until that's done, he'll make sure she stays alive. Out of some twisted sense of professional courtesy, Ike and his crew are making their way to Alesta, and he's sweating hard, trying to come up with a plan that won't get his squad wiped out. They've been on the move for days, and while the group's taking a breather, Ike's still grinding, looking for a winning strategy. That's when the Dwarf King rolls through to pay him a visit. He tells Ike that the demons and humans have figured out how to work together, and all the prototype weapons Ike asked for are ready to go. Ike nods and thanks him for all the help. But the Dwarf King brushes it off, saying no need for praise. But there's something I gotta ask. He isn't rushing to start fighting just yet, but since they're getting close to Alesta, he's wondering when Ike's gonna call for the battle. Ike explains, things are still rough out there. That's why I sent Piggy to scout, so we know what we're getting into. By the time Piggy gets back, he's bringing bad news. He takes Ike to a spot where they can get a good look at the city walls. That's when Ike spots Sephiro's clothes hanging from a pole. It's a hard hit seeing that means she's been taken down. Ike thinks for a second, what's she wearing now? But deep down, he's hoping she's still alive. Ike had been worried the whole way here that maybe Sephiro had already been killed, but the fact that it's just her clothes and not her body gives him hope she's still breathing. Feeding 5,000 men ain't easy, so Ike figures the Alliance is desperate to end this battle fast. The quickest way to do that, use Sephiro as bait. It's a trap they know the other brigades can't ignore. Even though they know she's alive, they don't have any idea what kind of shape she's in, or if she's being tortured right now. Even though it's a setup, they don't have a choice. They've got to move fast and save Sephiro, no matter the risk. They'll need to sit down and figure out their plan before making a move. But before that, Ike's gonna need some help from the Dwarf King, Lily, and Piggy. Once everything's ready, they'll strike at dawn the next day. The day of the attack, this human guard's doing his thing, keeping watch like it's another regular shift. Then out of nowhere, a green Rasengan blasts through the air, headed right for the tower. It hits him, it's an enemy move. Soldiers scramble to get ready, trying to set up defenses. But the heat coming at them is way more intense than what they're ready to deal with. Rudel checks in, asking for an update. He gets told a chunk of the wall's been blown out, but it's only about 500 enemies. Shouldn't be a big deal. Rudel ain't buying it though. He tells his vice commander not to sleep on the enemy, stay sharp, and go in smart. The humans start firing their catapults at the demon army, and it hits them hard. But Ike pulls up with a shield, protecting his crew. He tells them to hang tight. Sephiro and the wounded demons inside the castle gotta make their escape first. After some minutes of back and forth, Rudel calls his people to stop firing. Something don't feel right about this whole thing. On the surface, it's looking like an easy win if he throws his main squad at Ike. But he can't shake the feeling Ike's got a trick up his sleeve. Normally, Ike should be charging at the city defenses, trying to break through and get to Sephiro, but his squad ain't moving much. Plus, he doesn't have the numbers or firepower to really pull off a rescue. Ike's too sharp not to see that, so he must be running a different play. Rudel asks his vice commander what's going on with the prisoners in the basement, and the vice commander says they're being watched closely. But Rudel ain't taking no chances. He says to send Voltel down there as backup, just in case. Meanwhile, in the basement, one guard's getting off his shift. But as he walks off, his shadow stays behind, creeping under the cell door. Inside the cell, the new guard's taunting Sephiro, telling her people are here, but they're all about to get wiped out. And while he's at it, he's talking about doing all kinds of sick, twisted stuff to her for his own sick pleasure. Before he can even make a move, Lily creeps up behind him and drains the life right out of him. Once he's down and out, Lily kneels in front of Sephiro, apologizing for taking her sweet time to come and get her. Outside, Ike catches on that Rudel stopped attacking, which means Rudel probably figured out their game plan. Dwarf King asks Ike if it's time to go all out, but Ike tells him to chill, they gotta hold off a little longer. They need more time, so Ike starts launching more wind blasts at the wall, trying to bait Rudel into taking the bait and attacking again. Rudel sees what Ike's up to, so he asks for an update on their troops. His people tell him their infantry, cavalry, and archers are locked and loaded, ready to strike. Feeling confident that Ike's crew ain't pushing forward, Rudel gives the order for his men to fire up the attack again. He plans to keep wearing Ike's squad down till they're wiped out. Meanwhile, the soldiers guarding Fiorentina and the other demons are starting to sweat, worried things might spin out of control. They're thinking it might be smarter to kill all the prisoners now, so they don't gotta worry about them escaping later. Honestly, it wasn't a bad idea. But before they can act on it, a spell knocks them out cold. Once they're down, Lily strolls in, holding Sephiro. Fiorentina's relieved to see Sephiro alive and rushes over, apologizing for not being able to save her from getting snatched. But Sephiro tells Fiorentina there's nothing to be sorry for, and she's just thankful everyone's still breathing. Lily cuts the reunion short, telling them there's no time to sit around. Fiorentina gets up, saying she'll let Lily handle the rest. Then out of nowhere, Fiorentina catches an arrow in her back, dropping her already weak body to the ground. The shot came from Voltel's squad, who was sent to make sure no prisoners get out alive. With all his men on deck, Voltel's planning to make sure none of the demons leave that place alive. He was expecting them to break down and get scared. But instead, Lily starts laughing like a maniac because everything's playing out just like Ike said it would. Voltel's confused, not catching what she's saying, so Lily points to his left where Piggy's just standing there, cool as ever. Voltel's shocked, asking how Piggy even got there, but Piggy shrugs and says he came through the front door, with a little magic on the side. Right then, Lily sends a magic signal to Ike, and the moment Ike gets it, he teleports the firing squad straight into the castle with Piggy. Voltel spots the guns and knows exactly how deadly they are. but by the time he can react, it's already too late. His soldiers are getting dropped by the dozens as the firing squad unloads on them. Once they run out of ammo, Voltel tries to rally the rest of his troops to fight back, but things go south fast. The remaining orcs start tearing through his men, and one dude gets absolutely torched. Lily tells the orcs to chill out since they still got other business to handle before they can bounce. Meanwhile, Sephiro's with Fiorentina, trying to stop her from bleeding out. Fiorentina apologizes again for letting her down before she passes out. Sephiro's enraged, furious over losing her subordinate. As Voltel's shouting commands at his soldiers, Sephiro makes his wand explode, then stomps on his throat, unleashing all her anger on him. Trust me, his head is definitely no longer attached to his body. The soldiers see what she did to Voltel, and don't waste a second, they start booking it, running for their lives. But even after taking Voltel out, Sephiro ain't satisfied. She's ready to hunt down and finish off every last soldier. Before she can, though, Lily steps in her way, begging her to hold up because there's something she needs from her. Sephiro isn't trying to hear it at first, but when she finds out it's a request from Ike, she calms down enough to listen. At the same time, Piggy scoops up Fiorentina's body, letting Sephiro know she ain't dead yet. He says he's gonna try to get her some medical help ASAP, pleading with the crew to keep the mission going without him. A little while later, Rudel gets hit with news that demons have breached the city walls and set the prisoners free. The way the intruders appeared out of nowhere makes Rudel realize this has gotta be Ike's magic at work. Right then, there's a loud bang from inside the wall, and they spot Piggy's firing squad lighting up any human soldiers they run into. On top of that, Sephiro blows up all the heavy artillery, and the demons go wild, doing even more damage to the human forces. Rudel's whole plan is straight up falling apart. After they've wrecked enough of the human troops, Piggy says it's time to bounce. He shoots a flare into the sky to signal Ike. The second Ike sees it, he turns to Dwarf King, letting him know it's his turn to jump in. Dwarf King's been ready, with barrels of gunpowder all set. The gargoyles swoop in to grab the barrels, planning to drop them right on top of the human forces. Piggy and Lily know what's about to go down, so they tell all their people to stop fighting and dip through the gaps in the wall before it's too late. Rudel sees the gargoyles flying overhead with those shady barrels, and while he's not sure what they're up to, he knows it can't be good. He orders his men to fall back right away. Seconds later, the gargoyles start dropping those barrels, and the moment they hit the ground, boom, massive explosions rip through, taking out even more of Rudel's defenses. By now, Rudel's troops are in total chaos. Ike spots the perfect moment to strike and gives the order for an all-out attack. While Rudel's scrambling, trying to get control of the situation, he's hit with the news that Ike's squad is charging in. Rudel knows there's no way they can win against this kind of full-scale attack, so he orders his men to retreat immediately. He might have lost today, but he's not done. He swears he'll be back one day, and when he returns, he won't lose to Ike again. With the battle over, the demon army takes over the city and starts making plans to rebuild it. By now, the other platoon commanders have shown up, and they're shocked to see humans chilling with the demons inside the castle. Sephiro breaks it down for them those humans are from Avelia's and chose to help. They're the reason Sephiro made it out alive, so from now on, they're to be treated with respect. As comrades, Fiorentina made a full comeback from her injuries, so everything ended up working out. But the platoon leaders are feeling guilty about not being there to help while their commander was locked up. Sephiro shuts that down, telling them it wasn't their fault. She's the one who sent them out to fight other battles, and she's the one who got caught slipping. Right then, Piggy runs up into the tent, saying he just got a letter from one of Rudel's messengers. The dude's waiting outside by the gate, and Bayo's ready to off him just for the fun of it. But Ike steps in, telling him to chill and at least check what the letter says first. Ike opens it up, and it's basically Rudel giving him props, saying he respects Ike as a solid rival. Long story short, Rudel's saying it was a good fight, and he's down to face Ike again sometime in the future. Ike's thinking Rudel's being a little dramatic sending this congrats letter while they're still enemies. But even with all that, Rudel did trap Sephiro and snatch her up easily. He could have killed her anytime before Ike showed up. So Sephiro's counting this as one of her biggest L's. Ike tells her that luck plays a big role in battles, but Rudel's leadership, that's all skill, not luck. From how he set up the trap for Sephiro to how he pulled back once he knew he couldn't win, Rudel's decisions were always quick and on point. Ike even admits that without the new explosives Gunther cooked up, he's not sure they would have taken the win. Ike decides to write Rudel back, letting him know he's impressed with his decisions and leadership. But as for meeting up again, Ike says he hopes next time they can link up as friends, not enemies. After that, Ike tells Piggy to give the letter to Rudel's messenger, and Sephiro officially congratulates Ike on another big win, but she keeps it real, saying he didn't have to come save her, especially knowing it was a trap. Ike tells Sephiro that the Demon Lord gave the order, and there was no way he was gonna refuse. Besides, he's known Sephiro for too long to leave her hanging like that. Right then, they hear a whole ruckus outside, so they head out to check what's going on, and they're straight up shocked to see the Demon Lord standing there. What's even crazier is Piggy talking to her like she's some little kid, telling her she's got a dip since it's an active night zone, and the FBI might pull up any minute. Ike sees this, panics and rushes over, pushing Piggy to the side and apologizing like crazy for how he was acting. Ike pulls Piggy aside and breaks it down for him. Bro, this girl right here is the Demon Lord. Piggy's straight up floored, cause all the stories made the Demon Lord out to be some wild, three-legged monster. Ike says sorry again to Lord Dirk for Piggy acting a fool, but she's saying most demons don't even know what she really looks like anyway. Then it hits Piggy, Lord Dirk's the same mysterious chick who single-handedly saved Avelia's a few days back. Now it's all clicking, cause her power's on another level. The Demon Lord turns to the whole crew and gives a shout out to Saphiro, telling her she did her thing in the battle. Saphiro isn't feeling it though, saying she doesn't deserve any praise since her mess up got her squad caught in the first place. But Lord Dirk isn't hearing that she tells Saphiro that despite everything, holding out for days with no supplies until Ike showed up. That takes real strength, and she's gotta give her credit for that. She then says all the soldiers in the Undying Corps have been solid throughout the war, but Ike's been carrying the most weight, so she's giving him some special props. Ike thanks her, but deep down he's got a bad vibe about where this is heading. Then Lord Dirk hits him with it. He's way too talented to be running just one brigade, so she's putting him in charge of the whole 8th Corps now. And this time, there's no saying no cause there's more action coming, and there's another season lined up for the viewer. And with that, we have reached the end of the first season. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I will catch you in season 2. Do not forget to drop a like, hit that subscribe, and smack the bell so you do not miss what is coming next.